Hey there, good evening everyone. Welcome to Prog Monster. My name's Murph and I am the host of this show. A show dedicated to progressive rock, hard rock, heavy metal, and other types of rock music. So, tonight is not the beginning. Tonight's this continuation of my series, Rock Greats Who Thrilled Us But Have Since Passed On. This is episode number 33, 1996. I've chosen two people tonight, very different. One of them I've been listening to for decades as part of the rock band Styx. And of course, yes, we're talking about John Panozzo, twin brother of Chuck Panozzo. The other one is legendary vocal singer and big band era doo-wop. I'll get into her later. Anyways, we're talking about the legendary Ella Fitzgerald. I decided on Ella today. I had somebody else in mind, and then I decided, no, I'm going to do Ella. I don't see how you can pass on her, even though she isn't really what I would call a rock musician, but clearly I went and listened to some of her stuff, and then I went to listen to see other people who had performed those songs, and many of them were rock artists, of course. So Ella will be talked about tonight as well. Okay, so I'm just checking something. Okay, so Ella actually will go first. She was the original order had John going first, but the person I chose to do I took out and put her in. So she passed first before John Panozzo. So we'll do her first. Okay, so anyway. The vitals on Ella. I can need my glasses here for this. Ella Jane Fitzgerald was born April the 25th, 1917 in Newport News, Virginia. She died June the 15th, 1996 at the age of 79 in Beverly Hills, California. Okay, she had a huge amount of different types of music she was involved with: jazz, swing, bebop, bop, blues, soul, doo-wop, R&R, or rock and roll. So she was very versatile. She had a very powerful voice, I think. Of course, that's what her instrument was a vocal. She was a vocalist. And she was active from 1929 to 1995. Fairly lengthy time. Okay, so anyways, she played with a host of big bands, including Chick Webb. She also did some songs or some collaborations with the Ink Spots, Louis Armstrong, Benny Goodman, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Dizzy Gillespie, Frank Sinatra. The list is endless. And of course she appeared on television and television shows and in movies and all that stuff too. So very famous woman, I think. When her mom died when she was 15 from injuries in a car accident, a car crash, she was raised for a short time by her mother's boyfriend, husband, whatever you want to call him. And there's some evidence to suggest that she might have been abused during that, but she never brought it up. She got work as a lookout for the Portella and another Mafia affiliate. So eventually the police caught up with her and they sent her first to an orphanage, and then when that didn't work out, they sent her to a girls' reformatory in New York City. She then was what was it? I want to read this because it's an important part here. Okay, she won the first prize in an amateur night, one of the early amateur nights at the Apollo Club. So basically, the prize was that she would perform at the Apollo Club for 5 nights. Of course, I don't think that ever took place for that prize award. But anyways, during this time period, she met Chick Webb, who offered her a chance to test with his band. And of course, once they heard her, they weren't going to pass on that. That's for sure. She was a bit what they called untidy, unkept. Big woman who's untidy, unkept. It just really wasn't appealing, but she could sing, man. After she tested, she of course won the job, and then they had a couple of hits together, and then she had the big hit, which was A Tisket, A Tasket, which was released in 1938, one of the biggest selling records of that particular decade, 1930s. So she played with a lot of these different bands over different periods of time. I listened to some of her singing. Remarkably powerful voice, very confident in her singing, and she had that scatting down to a science, man. She was really good at that. I don't think there's many people out there could do what she was doing with that. That's pretty amazing stuff right there. And of course, she sang a lot of stuff, and she did it as well or better than just about anybody else. And a lot of her stuff was taken and used by some early rock musicians as well. One of them, Janis Joplin, sang a particular song that she had done as well. So I mean, she was I think influential. I don't know how a person of that talent couldn't be influential. People had to have seen it. Basically, I think that she was well loved for her vocals. I think one of the great kind of jazz blues, big band swing type singers of all time. I enjoy her voice. The music, I'm not a huge fan of that type of music, but just to hear that voice, it's just worth listening to it just for that. I found myself enthralled with it and looking for more stuff. So, I think I'll be looking around for stuff from her when I'm out looking for my albums. I'll be keeping my eye open for some stuff from her, because I kind of like the crooners from the Frank Sinatras and the Nat King Coles of the world. I like that kind of music quite a bit, and so I'll be looking at that too. So there you have it. Our first person, Ella Fitzgerald, legendary vocal singer. Okay, the number two person that I chose was originally number one. He was never not going to be on this list, mostly because I'm a huge fan of the rock band Styx. I love most of what they do, and to me, John Panozzo is part of that, well, at least part of the original makeup of the group. So he was born September the 20th, 1940 in Chicago, Illinois, and he died July the 16th, 1996 at the age of 47, also in Chicago, Illinois. Progressive rock, hard rock, basically whatever Styx was doing, he was doing. He was the drummer, of course, and was affiliated, his years active were 1956 through to 1996. And he, of course, has a fraternal twin brother, Chuck Panozzo, who is still sometimes plays with Styx. Had some health issues himself, but he's much older now. Okay, so him and his brother grew up in Chicago, and they both took an interest in music, and one of their uncles, took time to teach them various stuff. Chuck chose the guitar, while John, of course, chose the drums. And then they formed a band once they were proficient enough. They formed a band, a three-piece band, in which Chuck played guitar and John played bass. The drums. Okay, so then in 1961, John and Chuck formed a band with a neighbor named Dennis D. Young, and they called this band I know the name, but I can't remember here. Oh yeah, sorry. I remember now. The Trade Winds. So Chuck of course, on guitar still. John on drums, and Dennis DeYoung did the singing as well as played accordion. And they got fairly popular doing this. They did this for a fairly lengthy time, I think, before in 1968 Chuck changed his instrument to the bass, and the threesome added two more players, James J.Y. Young and John Kuroliski on guitars. So they added two guitar players, and they changed their name to TW4. And they stayed that way until they signed a contract with Wooden Nickel Records in Chicago, and then they changed their name to Styx. And from that, we know pretty much their history after that. So, and he played with Styx from from 72 to 84 until they took a kind of a hiatus, which allowed him more drinking time, I would think, which eventually wasn't a good thing. He did play in '93 on JY's solo album. He played drums on a couple tracks on that album as well. And then, of course, his liver got very bad. He had cirrhosis, and it just was made him very ill, and then eventually he died from this, which is unfortunate, but that's sometimes what happens. So John Panozzo was a very good drummer. I don't know if he's as good as Zuckerman is. Zuckerman's a very good drummer. But definitely, if you listen to some of that old Styx, John was, he was pretty much on the money with the stuff they wanted him to play. Excellent drummer, I think. I've enjoyed most of the stuff that Styx did with him as the drummer, and I like Zuckerman as well. But Zuckerman's been in the band now for over 20 years now. Probably longer than John was the drummer for the band, but John was the original drummer, and to me, I wanted people to remember him because I think he was a huge impact on the music of Styx. He was the drummer that did all those rolls and things they used to hear, and just fantastic. So, well, there you have it. John Panozzo, legendary drummer for Styx. And Ella Fitzgerald, big band singer, and all kinds of really good scatting and all kinds of stuff she was good at doing. So some of the honorable mentions I will read as well for those of you who like this kind of thing, and it gives a chance to make sure that we recognize some people that I can only choose a couple people, but there's other people here that deserve to be recognized. Richard Kermode, Joplin and Santana. Janis Joplin and Santana. Frankie Garcia, the Cannibals from Cannibal and the Headhunters. Kenny Hillary. Sorry, not having a good time with pronunciations today. Ella Fitzgerald, of course, we already mentioned her. Bento Hinto of Mimosas Assassins. Kevin Gilbert. Gaylord Birch of Santana. Chas Chandler of the Animals, of course. Jason Thrisk of Pennywise, that's a bit of a punk band. Ava Cassidy. Tiny Tim, of course, he of the Ukulele and Funny Boys. And Ron Scott, jazz club owner and runner. So there you have it. Tonight's episode, series number episode number 33 of my series of rock greats who thrilled us but have since passed on. So this particular episode, while recorded now, will appear tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. That would be Wednesday, April the 20th. Excuse me. At 9 a.m. So I hope you like this. The series is moving along fairly good. I think we're now past the halfway point. I do have a couple of episodes towards the end of this series that will be double episodes. So there'll be a part A and a part B twice because I narrowed it down, but I couldn't get it below the 4. I had to stick with 4 people in both these 2 episodes just because I think these people deserved to be in, and if I could only pick 2, then 2 of them are going to lose out. So I decided to do 2 episodes for that particular year in order 4 people. I've done it twice, and I hope when we get to them you will see what I'm talking about. So anyways, that's a ways off yet, but like I said, I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please like and subscribe. Coming up tomorrow night will be my favorites, the conclusion to a 3-parter, the epics. So it's going to be my 25 favorite, and to be honest with you, it may end up only being my 10 favorite. I haven't decided yet. There's a lot. There's probably enough songs out there that are epics that I could do 25, but I don't know if all the songs on there are going to be like favorites. Like some of them aren't around long enough for me really to say that about. So I haven't decided yet. But anyways, tomorrow will be my favorites, part C of progressive rock songs that I love. Excuse me. No. So tomorrow will be my favorite epics, part C. So part A was the shorts, part B was the longs, and part C will be the epics. Epics being that they're longer than 14 minutes. That was the cutoff line. So I hope you will show up for that and get to see that as well. So from Murph and Prog Monster, have a good night.